All right, so in this video, I wanted to cover 5 sneakers that changed sneaker culture forever. Let's go ahead and get into this one. Sneaker culture has become a massive part of mainstream fashion, with sneakerheads collecting and admiring various styles of footwear. However, some sneakers stand out in history for their impact on the sneaker industry and culture as a whole. In this video, I'll discuss 5 iconic sneakers that changed sneaker culture forever. Number 5 is the Nike SB Dunk Low Pigeon, which was designed by Jeff Staple in 2005. They were released in extremely limited quantities, and police were there, and it was just a huge riot situation. At the end of the day, it caused a lot of mass hysteria and was one of the first major incidents in sneaker culture that garnered the mainstream media and was on the cover of newspapers. This iconic release, however, did kind of lift that microscope off of sneaker culture and bring it back a little bit and let the world see what sneaker culture was all about, thus bringing in more fans into the culture, digging into all of the different Nike SB themed sneakers to skate shops across the US. There's a Tiffany Dunks, the Stussy Dunks, the De La Soul Dunks. There was a whole bunch of them that released after this mass incident that all did very, very well. The last handful of years, we saw a resurgence in the Nike SB line and the Nike Dunk Low specifically. Pandemonium has been everywhere as well, but really that moment helped solidify the fact that Nike SB was here, and the subculture of hunting sneakers and riots and stuff unfortunately evolved as well. Similar to that, we have the Nike Foamposite 1 Galaxy that it released in 2012 for All-Star Weekend. Foamposites were at an all-time high. The Galaxy print of the Foamposite 1 was absolutely amazing. It was a stunning shoe nonetheless. Originally released in 1997, worn by Penny Hardaway of the Orlando Magic, but also was actually first introduced to everybody by Mike Bibby, so kind of funny there. The Orlando release, All-Star Weekend, just absolute chaos. Riots and more for this shoe right here. A resale was over $1,000, $2,000 or whatever back then. These are going to be retroing this year or next year, so we will be finally seeing a resurgence of the Foamposites. But the original wave for what happened to the shoe definitely caused hysteria at a different level that people were not ready for. And again, this is 2012, many, many years after the original colorway came out. But this color blocking specifically changed the game and changed the way that releases ended up happening after that. Different than the Pigeon Dunks where there was just one store releasing them. This was released to like House of Hoops, Foot Lockers, I believe, and like Nikes and stuff. So this one had a much larger release than something like the Pigeon Dunks, but the hysteria was there, and it definitely changed the way that the releases ended up happening, so there would be less chaos around the overhyped market for sneakers at this point. In 2009, Nike and Kanye West shook hands and actually released the very first Nike Air Yeezy 1, and this shoe was very highly sought after. Obviously, Kanye has some very dedicated fans, but apart from that, the design of the shoe looked really cool. The Yeezy 1 had a retro vibe in 2009, but really the part that changed sneaker culture forever is the release of the Red October Yeezy 2s in 2012. The Red October colorway of the Yeezy 2 definitely had the most hype of any of the Yeezy releases. I believe it was on a Sunday. Nike just randomly dropped it. There was no sneaker monitors that you have nowadays that told you how many were in stock and all the sneaker bots that really just ate up all the sneakers. They had sneaker bots back then, but it weren't as developed as now, and they didn't catch the random drop like this was happening. So a lot of people ate on this shoe and were able to actually successfully buy the shoe. I was not one of them, unfortunately. The Red October was released in 2014 and was the last of the Yeezys to release from Nike. The previous Yeezy 2s released like over a year before that, so there was a lot of time and momentum for the shoe to be releasing. And so when it did, it was definitely something that people felt a certain type of way about. You were super, super lucky if you hit, and a lot of people were really angry that they didn't. In fact, I swear they had more stock that they never actually ended up releasing. I don't know what ended up happening to that, because you guys already know that Kanye actually left Nike and went to Adidas, signed a contract over there, and then the Adidas Yeezy wave ended up taking off from there. He created a fortune with the 350 V2s as well as other models from the Yeezy line. Very iconic, but had an abrupt end obviously this last year, so kind of crazy how that ended up stopping. However, I think it definitely changed sneaker culture forever because of the Yeezy 2 Red October release. The timing of that was a crazy, crazy time. And then the fact that Kanye was able to take the Yeezy name and bring it from one brand to the next, again, just something that not very many people would be able to pull off. The mass appeal from an individual entertainer that Kanye was to bring a product and cross over to so many different customers. Whether you're a fan of Kanye or not, you might like the products. It was a lot different than an athlete bringing a product to fruition, because Kanye was an entertainer with a design mindset. And I think that what he ended up creating was different and far ahead of its time many times over for a lot of the things he ended up creating from that point on. We'll see what ends up happening to him in the future. Obviously, he had a pretty big falling out with Adidas, and who knows if Nike actually owns the license and the rights to the Yeezy models to actually be able to retro those again if they ever chose to do so. And if they did, I wonder how they do. We also have heard Adidas plans on retroing some of the Kanye line, but without Kanye himself. So it'll be interesting to see how that is received if and when that stuff starts actually getting a release. So in 1989, a movie called Back to the Future 2 came out, and it was epic. Anybody that watches this movie for the first time remembers when Marty McFly laces up his Nike Mag sneakers and then jumps on the hoverboard and does his thing. This was such a crazy moment because you had the Nike branding on the side of the shoe, and Nike was obviously trending even in 89. That's like the Air Jordan 4-5 era. But any which way, you had the Nike Mag boots that were so crazy, and the idea and the concept of the self-lacing sneakers back then was just revolutionary and different. Well, in 2011, Nike actually recreated and released a limited amount of these sneakers, with proceeds going to Michael J. Fox's Foundation for Parkinson's Research. The reason why this is game-changing because they took a fictional pair of sneakers from a movie, an iconic movie from 89, and many years later actually created the real thing for people to put on their feet. It lit up, it looked crazy, it looked gorgeous. Well, then they one-upped themselves, and in 2016 they released them again. However, this version had the self-lacing feature. It was such an incredible concept that actually made its way to a release. Unfortunately, it was so incredibly expensive because you had to buy it off an auction, which is $20,000-$30,000 or something like that is what they went for. So obviously I wanted a pair and never got a pair of them, but it's one of those shoes that I think about on a regular basis because they made something that was like from dreams to reality. As a sneaker connoisseur, as somebody that enjoys movies, it was like the perfect culmination of pop culture made into reality and to something tangible for the fans of sneakers and fans of the movie. So the concept of this definitely changed the game, and I wish they would actually release more of them in the future. Maybe we'll see more because they can make more money off of this stuff. Honestly, I still want to be able to get my own pair of these eventually, and it would be great to be able to contribute to Parkinson's with the purchase of these shoes in some way, shape, or form in the future. Hopefully we'll see that. But any which way, absolutely love this concept and love the fact that they ended up bringing them to reality. And the last pair of sneakers that I wanted to talk about that really changed sneakers forever, we're talking about Virgil Abloh's the 10, specifically the Air Jordan 1 Off-White Chicago colorway. So the 10 was released by Virgil Abloh. Off-White is his brand, and it was released in collaboration with Nike. He took 10 mostly iconic models from Nike and then reimagined them in his own way. There were 10 shoes divided into two themes. The first one, the Revealing, was designed to look accessible, hand-cut, open source, and reconstructed. It included the Air Jordan 1, the Air Max 90s, the Air Prestos, the Vapor Max, and the Blazer Mids. The second theme, Ghosting, was designed with translucent uppers to feature the idea of revealing and unite the second set of silhouettes through common material. It included the Converse Chuck Taylor, the Zoomfly SP, the Air Force 1 Low, Nike React Hybrid 2017, and the Nike Air Max 97. Virgil Abloh reconstructed 10 footwear icons. However, the Chicago colorway of the Air Jordan 1 that was deconstructed definitely is the one that got away from most sneaker collectors' collections, including myself. I don't actually have a pair of those. It was very hard to come by even if you were in the know, and if you bought it in the secondary market for like $1,000, $1,500, you did pretty good because today's market is worth well over $5,000. So the 10 was the beginning of many collaborations that he did with Nike, some of them more successful than others, but the fact he was able to take the Air Jordan 1 and create it in an original colorway, it was very special and one of the first times Jordan Brand let a creator do something like that. Now obviously the tragic part of the tale is unfortunately Virgil Abloh ended up passing away, which is just super unfortunate because he had a lot to offer. But what he did offer us for the time that he was here definitely helped change the landscape of sneakers, and his contributions to the 10 is something that will forever go down in history. Anyways, those are my 5 examples of sneakers that really changed the game. Leave a comment in the comment section if you have other suggestions for videos like these. This is a fun one that I just randomly thought of and figured I would deliver to you guys, and hopefully I'll do more of these type of videos because I really enjoy them. So subscribe to the channel if you guys want to see more content. I appreciate y'all for stopping in and watching. Have a good rest of the day. All right, peace.